Local service ads for lawyers. Let's talk about them. Let's dive deep into them because I'm sure that you've done them before or an agency's done them for you. They probably worked for a little bit and then stopped working. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to break local service ads down to a T because this is still, regardless of all the pain in the asses that you've been through, I still recommend this highly for a lot of reasons. So let's dive in as a part of our education process and training on paid ads for competitive law firms. So let's start off by talking about how LSAs work. They only show up for localized queries, and you must have a Google Business profile verified in order to run these. So that's a newer change. They used to run on an LSA account. A couple months ago, Google said, we're going to merge your Google Business profile, which has to be tied to a verified local address, commercial lease space, if you want to run local service ads. It's a bit of a change, really for the better, because now your reviews are connected too, so you don't have to get separate reviews. It used to be kind of a pain to get LSA reviews. There were also a lot of fake reviews there. Google Business Profile, they merged together, much easier. These ads run on a pay per lead model, so every time you receive a phone call is when you pay. That's different than Google pay-per-click ads, which are pay per click, which, the economics of these are a little bit different because on the front end, per lead, you're going to pay less for local service ads, but in the long run, per client, our data actually shows you're going to pay less with Google pay-per-click ads. And the reason is because you have much more control over pay-per-click ads because they're showing up based on keyword, not based on category. So with LSAs, you're targeting based on geolocation. You set a service area to target customers within a specific geographic region, like your city, your state, your zip code. They only show up for queries that include or infer a location. So keywords like lawyer near me, car accident attorney Miami. Anytime that Google can infer that it's a localized query, LSAs are going to show up. They also show up on the top of SERPs, which is great, the first thing that people see. So the difference here and the challenge here, and you can see this little screenshot right here, is that targeting is based on category or practice areas, not keywords. So you basically go in the legal space, and Google's constantly adding more and more categories that you can target. Pretty much everything you can think of is already in there right now. We're in 2025. So you basically set up that you are a law firm, and then you set up the practice area. And then within the practice area, you can see here like personal injury, there's all these different case types within personal injury that you can turn on or turn off based on what you want to do. Now, you still might get phone calls from a lot of these, like MedMal is one that only like 5% of attorneys that we work with want to do MedMal because you're going to get 1,000 calls a year and maybe close one of them. Now, of course, you're going to make a lot of money if you close that one, but it can really burn out your intake, and it can really burn out your advertising budget and marketing budget if you're going to do that. Now, you still might get MedMal calls because you have to keep in mind, and this is just important for your understanding about what's going on, is that a lot of consumers don't know the difference between personal injury lawyer and lawyer. I didn't until I started working with lawyers. So if somebody's searching for lawyer near me or even just personal injury lawyer near me, they might still call you with MedMal, right? They might not know that MedMal is like what it's officially called. So keep that in mind. It's kind of a downside of these is that they're targeting based on on practice area instead of keyword. So these are also pay per lead. So again, you just pay and you're charged based on the number of phone calls that you get. So in terms of benefits, what's great about LSAs is that they show up directly on top of searches. So screenshot here, any keyword you put in here, personal injury, car accident, whatever, you're going to see right on top here. Also the Google screened, basically like you can only show up here if you are screened. Google just puts that in there to build a little trust with consumers, but it doesn't really mean anything anymore at this point. Now, showing up at the top of SERPs has its ups and downs. You're the first thing people see, so you're going to get a lot of phone calls very quickly, very easily, but you're also the first thing people see, so you're going to get a lot of phone calls very quickly, which means not all phone calls are good phone calls because people probably aren't doing the full amount of research versus if they're scrolling down and they're reading content and they're going to landing pages and watching videos, all that stuff. So, a big complaint that we get, which we'll talk about, is the quality of leads isn't the best, but we'll talk about that in a second. So it's a rich result that stands out. That means there's a picture, there's reviews, compared to just like a normal blue link, if you will. LSAs are much simpler than AdWords. You don't need to be an expert. In fact, you can do these yourself if you really want to. A lot of our clients do. We do them for our clients for free because if any agency tells you that they need an expert to set these up, they're lying to your face, run to the hills. So you can do these yourself if you want. We do them for all of our clients because they're simple, but they're not easy. And if you've ever done these before, that makes sense to you because they are a major pain in the butt when it comes to getting these to work, especially over a long period of time. So again, they're pay per outcome, which is great. So it's very easy for you to quantify a budget. You know, if you're like, hey, I want to sign an additional 10 cases per month, I know that I need 50 phone calls for that. Per phone call, it's $500. You can do the math on that, right? So it's much easier to kind of quantify and forecast results. And there's even a calculator that Google gives you that will tell you the estimate. It's pretty low. Whatever you see here, double it, pretty much. So what are some challenges with LSAs? Quality's hit or miss because they're click-to-call ads and they're at the top of SERPs. So like I said, they are not doing a ton of research. A lot of the times in the legal space, people just want to ask you questions because you're an expert, you're a lawyer. I understand that too. People do that to me. It's annoying, but it's part of the process. So, you know, if you don't have good intake, then these are going to fail. I'll just jump down here. If you don't answer the phone, if you don't respond quickly, if you're not training your intake folks to qualify leads quickly, you're going to go through a lot of bad leads. And you have to keep in mind the total economics of this. What I mean by that is don't get caught up judging these on a monthly basis. You know, you might be like, hey, Ryan, we spent $10,000 last month and we didn't sign a case. And 90% of the leads, 95% of the leads were bad. Depending on what practice area you're in, you know, that happens a lot in personal injury. You're going to get a lot of bad phone calls. Even if you're just doing organic marketing or referral marketing, you're going to get a lot of bad phone calls. It's part of your business model. So if don't have that mindset of, I'm okay sifting through 20 phone calls to get to one good one that closes. I mean, I can't do any marketing with you if you're in the injury and accident space because that's just a part of the business. So you got to be patient with them. Try not to judge them too quickly. Give it some time. If you're getting phone calls of people that are searching for your query and keyword, understand it doesn't get better than that. There's no billboard, there's no radio campaign that's going to get any more high intent than somebody going to Google and saying, I need a lawyer and I want to talk to a lawyer. Again, you're going to get a lot of tire kickers. You're going to get a lot of people who don't have cases. You're going to get a lot of people that don't know what they're searching for. That's fine. Be patient, stay the course. So the biggest thing here too is just issues with long-term performance. LSAs, I do 15 consults a week with lawyers, and everyone is either doing them or has done them, and it's one of two things. It's either, yeah, they're working really well right now. How do I do more? Or two, they worked for a little bit and then they didn't work, and now they just don't show up, or I just get bad phone calls. So there's definitely an issue with long-term performance here. I have a hypothesis. My hypothesis is that Google rolled these out 8 to 10 years ago to make it easy for small businesses to advertise without the need of people like myself. Because if you want to run AdWords are complicated. You need an expert. They're a bit of a pain. But LSAs, you can go in here and run them yourself. That's exactly what Google wanted. So my hypothesis is that Google gives preference to newer advertisers because they want to give you a taste of what can happen if you advertise properly in Google. So we haven't seen a lot of businesses that are able to run LSA successfully for more than 6 months, right? We have some strategies that we deploy to restart the account and get them going again. If you're interested in that, make sure to book a call with me. I'll tell you about them. But for the most part, I think Google does that intentionally. That's why accounts like dry up. Like we've had very large injury clients doing 300 phone calls a month go down to 0. And Google gives you no support. They give you no guidance. Essentially, what I think they want you to do is just spend that on AdWords instead, because that's a much more scalable platform for them. There's a lot more real estate and inventory available there, and there's no ceiling to what the cost is there because it's a pure bidding system. So that's my hypothesis. I think that there's so many advertisers and LSAs that they shut down accounts. So that way, again, it's a real estate bidding system. There's only 2 results that show up. So the more firms that are bidding on that real estate, the higher the cost per lead gets. And I think Google wants to cap that at a certain amount, because otherwise, if you're paying $1,000 per lead per phone call, then they're going to price a lot of people out, and then no one's going to want to advertise. So I think that algorithmically, they have some internal mechanisms to make sure that they're always accepting new advertisers and giving real estate to new advertisers, so you have some success, and then you graduate into the AdWords program. So that's it on LSAs, some benefits, some how to use them. If you need help with your LSAs, again, I'm not going to charge you for them. I do them for my clients for free if you sign up for an SEO contract, because they are a coin flip, they're hit or miss. We definitely have some tips and tricks and secrets and hacks, if you will, because there's a screenshot from one of our LSA accounts. We manage hundreds of these accounts for our clients. We have access to hundreds of law firm advertising accounts. We're managing them currently right now. So we have a lot of expert insight and just boots on the ground experience with these things. So if you need help with them, there's a link below. It'll take you to my calendar. Book a call. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Hey, Ryan here. Hope you liked that video. If you want more, check out these two videos right here on this screen.